So Project B is a massive, massive league for the WNBA. And ironically, I think that Project B and one player in particular is going to really, really help the Indiana Fever out when it comes to how they're going to be able to recruit based off it, and how Project B could help the Indiana Fever realistically put together a title contender. Because a lot of people have been talking with the new potential CBA, and we're obviously working on the assumption that there's going to be a season with the new CBA, that there's going to be some form of a decrease in the amount of max contracts and a decrease in the amount of quote unquote hometown discounts. Or not even home discounts, a winning discount. So basically, there were players like a Cheyenne Parker-Tyus who could have commanded, this was what obviously she ended up being pregnant, but could have commanded way more, took way less money to go to the Aces. We saw Erica Wheeler. There's no question about it. Erica Wheeler could have commanded more than a minimum contract. Izzy Harrison could have commanded way more than a minimum contract. She wanted to go to New York to win a championship and to play with her girlfriend. All those reasons. A lot of players took minimum contracts because the difference between you taking a minimum contract and the contract you probably deserve is $20K. And for the sake of $20K, a lot of these players make more than that in endorsements, being in the place they want to be at anyway, and they made more overseas. But now, if you are taking a minimum versus, let's just say you were a 100K, that was your value in the previous CBA. As an equivalent in the CBA, it's probably about 350K. So instead of you giving up, say, the 220K to 350K, you're now looking at the situation where it's like, instead of giving up 20K, you're now giving up 120K. And that's something that teams aren't going to do unless the incentives are too good. And I don't think that 100K from the Vegas Tourism Board, or if Indiana can match that, or if massive sponsors for certain teams can match that money, because is there going to be another aspiration? Is there going to be another aspiration with the NBA? And I think there's been definitely on the table things going on in the WNBA. There absolutely is. But at the same time, Project B is a really interesting one because I have a feeling Sophie Cunningham, if you're asking me, they have Janelle, Kelsey Mitchell, Camila Cardoso, Jewel Lloyd, John Quell, Alyssa Thomas, and Nneka. Let's just say, apparently they're paying, some stars are being offered salaries starting at $2 million. And people take that as the minimum contract $2 million. No, it's not. No, it's not. I would not be surprised. There are going to be players playing in Project B for under 100K a year. Or under 100K. Absolutely. There is a 0% chance that there are not players going to be playing for 100K. There are certain players making salaries up to 2 million because they have all the money. It's venture capital money. And at the end of the day, Nneka, all-star, all WNBA, probably making in around 2 million. Same with Alyssa Thomas, same with John Quell. Lloyd had a bad year last year, but again, historically has been that level. And then after them, Kelsey Mitchell as well. I think all of them are probably making in the 2 million range. I think a lot of them are probably making in the 1 to 2 million range. Easily, minimum. And then another player that I think is making that money is Sophie Cunningham. It would not surprise me if Sophie Cunningham is the highest paid player in this league. Because we have to be smart about this. This is like a basketball traveling tour. This is a women's basketball traveling tour. Like, you're showing up to these places for 2 weeks. You have to put butts in seats. And maybe Kelsey Mitchell's getting paid higher. But there's nobody that's going to draw a crowd in this current crop of players more than Sophie Cunningham. I would be shocked if Sabrina Ionescu doesn't play. My theory, half the fucking Liberty on the team. Like, John Quell, Maureen Johannes is coming in. We know from the following list. Maureen Johannes coming in, Leho Phoebish. And people are like, oh, Nike won't let Sabrina play. Man, you do realize that it's a world tour. Nike can just set up shop wherever they're going. Nike can just follow Sabrina. Nike would love for Sabrina to play. If Caitlin Clark's shoe was coming out, sometime around Christmas, you better believe Nike will be pushing Caitlin Clark to play in Project B, so she can do her world tour while still playing ball. But Josite, I don't know how much he's going to be making. Same with Phoebish. I'd say Cardoso's on good money. Salon's probably on okay money. Don't think Lee Meng's making crazy money. Same when Mai Yamamoto comes in. But the thing is that you have all of these players, and Sophie Cunningham is the best example. Like, Sophie Cunningham's a good WNBA player. Sophie Cunningham's about the 50th best WNBA player in the league. She is a player who starts on most teams. She's an underrated... The WNBA doesn't believe in role players, so she's one of those super underrated players. There's not that many people that do everything at a decent rate. And, like, who's the better... For me, it's better to be a star in your role than be shit at being a star. Like, in unpopular opinion, I think Enrique at this point in time is bad at being a star. I think Jewel Lloyd in her last season in Seattle was bad at being a star. Like, she had the greenest of green lights, but she was just bad at it. Which is why I would take Sophie Cunningham over either of those two players. I'd take Sophie Cunningham over either of them. Wouldn't take Sophie Cunningham over Kelsey Mitchell. Wouldn't take her over John Quell. Wouldn't take her over AT. Wouldn't take her over Necker, because they're all good at being stars. But I'd rather a star in their role than someone who's not good at being a star. And I'd take Leo Phoebish over all but like 15 players in the WNBA. I'd take, give me Leo Phoebish over Satu. That's a statement. But if you are in the Fever and you become a popular player, and suddenly Sophie Cunningham's making $2 million a year in the offseason, like, why wouldn't you consider going to the Fever? Why wouldn't that be a consideration? Like, Sophie Cunningham didn't start every game. She started some, didn't start others, and just became a fan favorite. She became a fan favorite. And Lexi Hull as well. I think I would be shocked if Aaliyah doesn't play in this league. I would be shocked. I would be shocked if Lexi Hull doesn't play in this league. Genuinely, I would be shocked if Lexi Hull and Aaliyah don't play in this league. Because they're going to be making millions of dollars. And that's the thing when it comes to this league, is that, like, if you are a Indiana Fever player, your value, because there's no salary cap here, you're valued purely on what you bring to the league, how many eyes are going to be watching you. And if there's 6 Indiana Fever players, more people are going to be watching. As you've seen, like, if you've seen some of the stuff with Michaela Timpson. With Michaela Timpson, people are still watching her overseas games. People are watching Czech League games for Michaela Timpson. As far as overseas players are concerned, she's a player that people are interested in watching. And that's the thing when it comes to these players, is that there's a whole bunch of Fever players that are going to make a whole bunch more money than other players. Is Sophie Cunningham better than Leo Phoebish at basketball? No. But this is not a meritocracy in the best players are going to get paid the most money. This is a meritocracy in the way of, this is an entertainment league. Sports is with the way they're doing it. It's the reason why they hired that the events company. This is entertainment. This is the WNBA is the main thing. That's where you get this money from. And this is, okay, yeah, we're going to bring you guys all over the world. And, you know, all of these different places, okay, maybe they get one game a year and you'll pack out a big arena because everyone in that area that's interested in sport will watch one game because it becomes a spectacle. And as long as the players play hard, which they will be because they'll be incentivized by the money, the prize money will make them play hard. It's going to be a very interesting thing. But yeah, look, the fact is, again, Phoebish's worth to this league isn't close to Sophie Cunningham's, even though Phoebish is a better player than Sophie Cunningham. That's where the prize money comes from. It is getting the eyes which give you the initial salaries. And let's just say, again, a player I really want on the Fever is Julie Alamont. A player I really want. I don't know if the Fever can afford Julie Alamont, but if Julie Alamont says, you know, she's making really good money at Fenerbahce, so probably not her. I'm trying to think of a player that's playing currently that's probably not on a big off-season contract. I love playing for Fever. Heck, fucking Azare. Maybe we can't afford to give Azare a max, but like, if the logic is, you play for the Fever, you hoop, people love you, you're making so much money in Project B. Like, I'd say Natasha Howard's probably going to be offered a fortune playing Project B. Heck, she's probably making a fortune in China right now. A big reason for that probably is the Fever. So yeah, anyway, that is the video. These outside, like a lot of the outside endorsements obviously are a reason why people sign for other teams. But that becomes less, that matters less when your playing salary goes from being something that basically pays your rent to being your main source of income, which is going to happen to a lot of these players. But you can take that hit if the endorsements are good enough. And with what I'm expecting to be the fever tax that you have to pay for Project B players, it might be worth taking a discount for a lot of these players, which could therefore help the fever in free agency massively.